Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Robinson, and today we'll be going over performance evaluations. Why we do performance evaluations is simple. We tend to do them to give our employees a better understanding of how they're doing at their job and what they can do to improve should they need improvement. So, overall, a performance evaluation system can motivate the staff to do their best for themselves and best practices promoting themselves as staff recognition and improving communication. Evaluations should be conducted fairly, consistently, and objectively to protect your employees and your practice. An effective performance evaluation system has standardized evaluation forms, performance measures, feedback guidelines, and disciplinary procedures. So essentially, everything is intact on this one form. There are 5 steps to conducting performance evaluations. First, you need to develop an evaluation form. Next, identify performance measures. 3, set guidelines for feedback. 4, create disciplinary and termination procedures. 5, set an evaluation schedule. So, developing an evaluation form is the first thing that you do. One way to ensure consistency is to use a standard evaluation form for each evaluation. You don't want it to be too confusing for your employees, and you want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So, you want to make sure that your form is standardized so that everyone gets the same form. You want to make sure that the form focuses only on the essential job performance areas. You don't want to bog it down with too much misinformation that isn't pertinent to those jobs. Job performance areas that should be included on a performance evaluation form are the job knowledge and skills, quality of work, quantity of work habits, and attitude. Next, you want to identify the performance measures. So your standard performance measures can cut down on the amount of time and stress involved in filling out these forms. The job description alone can serve as a measurement tool during an evaluation, but not always. Sometimes this isn't going to work out for you. In that case, your standard performance measures, as it says, aren't always subjective. And so you need to find other areas in order to critique on. So you can do that by beginning to develop standard performance measures in your practice. Next, you want to set guidelines for feedback. You want to make sure that everyone who will be conducting these evaluations knows what kind of feedback to give, how to give it, and how to get it from the employees in return. You want to give balanced feedback. You want to outline expectations for improvement. And you want to encourage feedback from the employee. You want to make sure that they are also actively involved in what you're doing so it doesn't seem like you're just bogging them down with unimportant information or just coming down on them. So next, you want to create disciplinary and termination procedures. So your first step would be obviously your verbal warning. If something goes wrong, you want to go ahead and let the employee know what they did wrong. Doesn't warrant a written write up, but it just needs to go and be addressed. The next step is the written warning. So the written warning, there's some information here. The most important steps is sometimes an employee messes up and it's a pretty bad mistake. And so, in order to rectify that, they need a written file to show that they have been reprimanded for what they did. This way, it has your signature, their signature, a summary of what happened, and the date. So that everyone's on the same page that, hey, this happened, it shouldn't have happened, and here's how we're going to move forward from it. And that being said, that's important because, lastly, unfortunately, if your performance evaluations are too bad, then you would have to terminate that employee. And so when you have the written warnings signed and dated by that employee, you have a case to prove why you're terminating them. This way, it doesn't seem like you're just terminating people unjustly for no reason at all. And lastly, you want to set an evaluation schedule. You want to make sure that you know when you want to conduct your performance evaluations. You make sure that each appraiser consistently meets the deadline because you want to do them relatively around the same time of year or on a certain interval so that everyone can be sure to be on the same page. And like it says in the last bullet point, you want to make sure that you're not ignoring employees' overdue evaluation because that will make them feel devalued. It may hurt their morale and performance. If they know that they're supposed to get regular evaluations and you aren't doing that, then it makes them feel like why should they be there? Especially when a lot of times the raises and pay increases are tied to these kinds of evaluations. You want to make sure that you're doing your best to help them out so they're doing their best to help the company out. And so these are just some simple tips and tricks on how to give an excellent performance evaluation. Thank you guys for your time and have a great day.